Hello and welcome back to Inside Quotes, the show where my brother and I rewatch, review, and relive the staples of our childhood. This is the year 2025, and this episode is going to be a little bit different because we are talking about 2024. And we're here to award all the movies that, well, not all of them, we're here to nominate all the movies that we've covered in 2024 in our 2025 annual Staple Awards. Anyways, this is episode 120. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me today is my older brother, Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome back to the show.
Quack, quack, everybody. It's great to be back on the show for a very special episode of Inside Quotes, the Staple Awards. This is what you've been waiting for all year. You've been listening to every episode. We just know it. You've been working hard. You're putting in your headphones. You're doing the dishes. You're listening to our episodes. You're listening to our hot takes. You're listening to our episode on What About Bob? The Mummy Returns. That's basically it, right?
That's the only two we've done this year.
The big two.
No.
Garfield.
No, we've done. Yes. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and list off the movies just so we know what we're working with. Because
How many did we cover this year?
we've done 22 this year, which is pretty good for us, given the life changes. We both moved. I've gotten married. This year we've done Johnny English, Dunstan Checks In, Holes, our 100th episode, Garfield, The Mummy Returns, Dennis the Menace, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Inside Out, Fantastic Four, Popeye, Muppets Treasure Island, Jonah, a VeggieTales movie, What About Bob, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, 9, that's the movie name, The Iron Giant, Spider-Man, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, I'll Be Home for Christmas, and The Polar Express.
Okay.
Whew. Good run this year, I would say. We had the least amount of guests this year, I'd say. We had like four. We had my wife. Great guest. Love her. Love her to death, honestly. We had Caleb Keenan, longtime friend of the show and friend in general. We had Bryce Bridgman, who's our classic Halloween guest every year. And we had a new guest this year, Jonathan Allen Wright. Shout out to him. He was on our Jonah episode. So we had a good amount of episodes by ourselves, but I think that was by choice because we probably wouldn't have gotten as much done if we had to schedule around a third person.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to schedule around a guest, you know?
It is. But it's worth it. So I can probably openly say that everyone else is welcome back on the show that was on this year. I can safely say that.
Safely, yeah.
So.
But yeah, it was a pretty big year for us. We hit our 100th episode. And
that was
if you've been
big.
listening to the show for a long time, you knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Also, we started YouTube. We are YouTube famous now, basically. We've got our own channel, and people watch it. We're see
YouTube
our faces.
Famous from our one non-video episode, Johnny English, that got 2.3 thousand views, or at least clicks.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the algorithm just keeps promoting that one to people, and we're like, why that one? I mean, it was a great episode. Don't get me wrong, but there's no video on that one.
A lot of British people on YouTube. But yeah, it's been a good year for us.
What does that mean?
A lot of British people on YouTube.
Oh, Johnny English. They like the movie. Okay. I was like, what does that mean?
You just thought I just said that.
There's a lot of British people on YouTube.
I just have to come up with banter, you know?
It was a good one. It was one of your best bits.
There's a lot of comedy in food. Oh, man. But yeah, it's been a really good year, and a really good year for movies. Well, none of these came out this year, but good year for the podcast, I would say. It's been a lot of fun. And we're looking forward to next year. What are our
Absolutely.
goals for next year, Jonathan?
I mean, pretty much every goal we've ever set, we've just far surpassed them, met them, exceeded them, set a new
Pretty
standard
much.
for podcasting. So,
And we didn't make any promises while we did that, you know?
yeah. Ain't making no promises.
No promises.
That's our motto. It's inside quotes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Oh, what are some things you want to see with the podcast?
I like to see us branch out some more. Maybe make some more concentrated videos in supplement to our podcast.
Okay.
Now that we're YouTubers, of course, we kind of have to fill into that.
Got to keep feeding the algorithm, you know.
Yeah. Maybe get some new guests that we haven't had before.
Mhm.
I really liked doing that this year. I don't know. Probably keep the consistency and keep getting a healthy amount of episodes and try not to miss a couple weeks.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'm proud of us, and I think we can keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I think the key to us being more consistent was just us not living together. I mean, that's a big change for us.
Yeah. Because
like we would just watch movies all the time, and then we'd be talking all the time, and we wouldn't feel like recording.
Right.
That was part of it anyway. So I feel like now that we don't live
like
together,
we weren't hanging out. Like we got along too well to record.
That's what I mean. Like we were just talking already. So by the time it came down to record, well, yeah, no. Let's just watch something
Save
for
that
ourselves.
Let's watch something first. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It has been good. So, all right. Well, should we start our staple awards?
I think so. What are we going to put here? Do we have some fancy music or?
Cue the intro. The 2024 Staple Awards season has ended, and we are now going to go over our Staple Award categories. Psst, if you've ever seen the Oscars, we're just doing that. They're a little breaking the fourth wall for you.
Is that anything like the Kids' Choice Awards?
Yeah,
am I going to get slimed?
Slime. Yeah. More staples, less slime. But we've got some categories. We've got Best Animated Film of the Year. We've got Funniest Staple. Best Action Adventure Film. The Wish Fulfillment category, which is an original category for us, I would say. Book Adaptation. That's a new one this year. The Best Score. Best Soundtrack Album. And then Most Original Song. And then this year, since we launched our Patreon, we had the Patreon vote for the Patreon pick of the year. So, and then we've got another new one: Best Movie Poster Art, Best Dynamic Duo, Best Villain, Most Obscure Movie, Best Director, and of course, the Stapliest Picture. Where the ground rules for that will be: we get one vote, you get one, I get one vote, you get one vote, and the third vote that determines is our listeners, and the winner of the staple bracket, which we do not know who wins yet, but we haven't live.
Peeked at the results yet.
Yes, you might know, but we don't.
What do you want to kick it off with? Best animated film?
Yeah, I'll read the nominees for the best animated film. We've got Inside Out, Jonah, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, 9, Iron Giant, and The Polar Express. Very controversial nominations over here.
A lot of animated movies this year.
A lot of people are creeped out by Claymation, which is 2 of those. And a lot of people are creeped out by Polar Express. But the creepiest animated movie is 9 in this list. But people haven't even seen that one. So, but yeah. And I don't know how we should do this. Should we just read the winner?
Yeah. When we've done this in the past, we weren't on video, so now we don't know what to do.
I
We
know.
just
It's weird.
ruffle up some papers, It's
We've
like,
pretended to have
oh, we got an
envelopes,
envelope,
but we
and the
don't.
nominee is.
Let me open my phone. The nominees. The winner of Best Animated Film. Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. People are going to hate us for that one, probably. Jonathan, why did we choose Wallace and Gromit for
Because
Best
the
Animated
movie
Film?
is a delight. I said it on the podcast.
It's too much of a delight not to win.
It takes too much work for you to make that movie. And
True.
I mean, there's a lot of great nominees on here. Some of the ones I was dancing around in my picks were, besides Wallace and Gromit, was Fantastic Mr. Fox, another stop motion movie.
Mm-hmm.
Had some great shots in that. Also, The Iron Giant, which was kind of the hybrid of like the 2D, 3D animation a little bit.
Which is that was my number one for sure. But
Polar Express, controversial, but some of the animation besides the people was pretty good.
People like to hate on it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the Nickelback of Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Inside Out is great animation. It's just standard though. Like it's just on par with the industry.
Too clean,
Jonah, iconic movie. Best animation, I don't know. I had to go with Wallace and Gromit for my pick on that one.
I agree. It's great. Really great. And it looks good. And I really appreciate their the way it looks then versus their first, like the way it's improved over the years.
Yeah. Very smooth, very cleaned up. Yeah.
At first. So
they've got all the character designs are fully like fleshed out or clayed out, if you will.
So clayed out. So yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. It's really good, really funny. A sequel has come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Netflix right now, so we haven't seen it yet. So go watch it, and we'll see it soon. All right, Jonathan, funniest staple. Why don't you read us the nominees for funniest staple?
Okay, the nominees for funniest staple are Dunstan Checks In, Garfield, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Dennis the Menace, Popeye, Muppets Treasure Island, Johnny English, Jonah. There's a few more. Hang on. Bear with me. What About Bob? How the Grinch Stole Christmas, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Wallace and Gromit. So pretty much every movie we covered this year,
most of them,
was pretty funny.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is more than half.
We probably could have added more.
We could have. The problem with the best part about funniest staple is that kids' movies or the movies we grew up on are geared to make kids laugh. That's the easiest thing to make a kid. That's the easiest, best emotion to make a kid feel, probably. So that's why there's so many that we've done.
Well, the winner of the funniest staple category goes to Johnny English.
Well deserved.
It's all those British listeners on YouTube.
It's too funny. I can't get over how good it is.
Definitely some contenders on there. I was really thinking about, Muppets, Jonah, so many good ones. But in the end, John English had to take it.
One of the friends of the show, Jonathan, he messaged me during all the brackets and stuff, and he said, Holes is solid, but I'm just a slapstick man. And he voted for John English more.
Was that one of the matchups?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler.
Mm.
But it's too.
That's a good comment.
Too good of a movie. All right. Well, Best action and adventure film. We kind of switched this one up. This is sort of a new one, but it's a very generic one. We had a lot of action and adventure movies this year. We've got Johnny English, Mummy, Mummy Returns, Fantastic Four, Holes, and Spider Man. And when I like to combine the two, action and adventure, I really lean more towards the adventure. I don't care about the fight. I care about the journey. You know what I mean? And I think you also kind of agree.
I think so.
And we've also just decided that the Mummy is going to win.
Not even going to read it off a phone.
No,
we just decided.
Yeah, we just decided that. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
The original Mummy, 1999 with Brendan Fraser. What else can we say? It's got it all
for sure.
It's got it all.
Better. It's better than some Indiana Jones movies.
I would agree. I would agree. And I love all the Indiana Jones movies, but The Mummy is up there.
It is up there.
I think we previously have done like best sports movie as a category, and we realized we didn't have any sports movies.
We didn't have anything.
So
Fantastic Mr. Fox had Whack Bat.
Yeah.
What was it called? Yeah.
No, that was it. Yeah.
That was it.
So we replaced it with the best action adventure movie.
Yeah.
So congrats to The Mummy. You deserved it. Finally getting your due after all these years here on the podcast.
Pretty sure it was a hit. But
yeah, it made a lot of money.
I don't know if you know. Universal ride.
I don't know if you know. They made more of these things.
They did.
And a spinoff.
Ugh. Yikes. Okay, Jonathan, why don't you tell us about the wish fulfillment and explain that to our audience here? Because that's
you gave me the hard one. You gave me the hard one.
Well, you invented it, so I'm going to let you do that.
Well, okay. This category is called the wish fulfillment category. And the way I like to think of it is basically this is the plot of the movie. There's some kind of device in the movie that like you wish it happened to you. So like previous nominees that I'm thinking of is like Mike, you know, like you get the sneakers, you get to play in the NBA with Tea Time.
It's a sports superhero movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other like nominees or winners of past years, but anyway, that's the idea about it. Like maybe it's a kid. You wish it happened to you as a kid. You're watching that. You wish you could be in the movie, and that would be one of your wishes if you had. Okay.
Right.
Well, this year, I feel like the movies we covered kind of were a little different, but we found some that squeezed into this category. And so here are the nominations. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Holes.
Traumatic. Sorry.
Dunstan Checks In. Spider-Man. Fantastic Four. The Iron Giant. And The Polar Express.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways you could go with that one. But at the end of the day, I thought, and Jeremy agreed, that we'd really like to ride on a train and sip some hot cocoa and go to the North Pole and experience the magic of Christmas. And so this year,
Tom Hanks in many forms.
Yes. So the winner this year goes to the Polar Express because that's what I wish I could do out of these movies.
I mean, do I want to be shrunk down as a little kid and get eaten by ants? I don't think so. And yeah, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, I would like to have superhero superpowers, but like we're lovers, we're not fighters, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to fight a villain, you know?
And now it's a job, you know?
Holes, that's a big one for me because I think it'd make life so simple just to be digging one hole per day, but it also looked kind of miserable. But it was fun because it was summer camp.
Yeah. I think we differed on that one because I was like, I don't think I'd want to actually go to that camp. But would I want to go there as like a vacation, Airbnb? You stay in the tents, dig a hole, eat some sploosh.
Would we get paid for that, or would you pay for it?
Oh man, yeah, I think you'd pay for that experience. You know,
yeah, unfortunately.
Cleo Thomas is there in a Zero costume, just like
Yeah.
greeting you when you're there.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, Iron Giant, be friends with a big robot, great movie, but I don't know if I can like get involved with the war there.
Yeah, it gets intense at the end there,
Yeah.
but that was definitely a consideration.
So a lot of the cons outweighed the goods in
Yeah.
this. So
Mhm.
we're going on the train. We're sipping hot chocolate. We're going to meet Santa Claus.
That's right.
All right. Our next category, book adaptation. It's going to be the best book adaptation. Not necessarily most creative, but not necessarily most accurate either. It's somewhere in the middle between here. So our nominees are Holes, Muppets Treasure Island, Jonah, Fantastic Mr. Fox, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and Polar Express. And this was a kind of a tough one because we
Yeah.
tied on here and we had to like decide what we were going to go with. And I think our best, like we were torn between Jonah and Muppets. And although the Muppets are amazing, one of the best things ever, I just think it's so telling how successful Veggie Tales are.
Yeah.
Teaching kids about the Bible through Veggie Tales, vegetables that don't have arms, and making it so memorable, and it's so good. Like, and all of that through a whole feature length film for like a 2-page, 4-chapter
Yeah.
book of the Bible. So we're going with Jonah, a VeggieTales movie for that.
For best book adaptation.
Best book adaptation. People, a lot of Bible scholars are gonna be like, "Oh my goodness." Got to do it to him.
We had to.
Had to. Jonathan, how about you read the nominations for the best score and introduce that category?
I'd be glad to. So the next category is best score, and here's a little introduction. This is based on the music in the movie, the instrumental orchestral score that's playing in the background, not like the songs. I always
Not
have to
the
give that
soundtrack.
clarification. Not the the Smash Mouth mixtape soundtrack. Although I don't think we had much Smash Mouth this year.
Not really.
But anyway, best score. I didn't write down the composers here, but here are the nominations. We've got The Mummy, Spider-Man, Polar Express, Inside Out.
Mhm.
Okay, couldn't read my handwriting. And Fantastic Mr. Fox. And the winner goes to the score by Danny Elfman, Spider-Man.
Iconic. How could you not?
This is a pretty good one. I would have to say that just like the moment the opening titles of this movie and you hear that just like high pitched like first note come on, I just immediately takes me back to this like emotional place of like Tobey Maguire doing the voiceover, like, you know. The
That was
intro
bad.
credits. I was like, "Ooh, is that it? Yeah.
Is there a mosquito on here?
Yeah. No, it's a spider."
Mosquito man.
But yeah, it's just from the moment, the high pitched like intro into the opening credits, it's exciting. You had to give it to Spider-Man.
Had to. Okay, next, the best soundtrack,
Okay.
not the score.
Mhm.
Best soundtrack album. Our nominees are Holes, Garfield, Johnny English, Muppets Treasure Island, Jonah, a VeggieTales movie, and Spider-Man. If you've known us or grown up going on road trips with us, you know the answer of this. And I would like to say we are grateful for Jonah and we are grateful for Muppets Treasure Island for coming up with their own original songs. But they cannot compete with the absolute banger of an album that Holes has given us. They even had an original song. So, couple. Honestly, they were all, but they weren't like musicals. So, but oh my goodness.
The number of scratches on my whole soundtrack CD just goes to show how often I took that out of my CD wallet and put it in my portable CD player on road trips
Yes.
and listened to it all the time.
If you've listened to our 100th episode about Holes, it's one of our favorite movies. And we did a quiz on there if we could guess the exact track listing order of each sound, like each track.
I
on
forgot
this
about
album.
that.
And we got most of them right.
Did we just play a few seconds of each one?
No,
And,
well,
name it?
basically, I had to list them off.
And we just did
Number
the
one
track
is
order.
blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, this one had to win. So
It was iconic.
that's that. Congratulations to Holes.
Yeah.
All right. Another music award category. Most original song. Jonathan, why don't you read these nominations?
We've got Cabin Fever from Muppets Treasure Island.
Classic.
Hot Chocolate from
Oh, we got it.
The Polar Express.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Haze Large
Oh!
from Popeye. We've got Where Are You
Icon.
Christmas from The Grinch.
Skip.
We've got Second Chances from Jonah, a VeggieTales movie.
Okay.
I have one other one written. I can't remember if we took this one off the list, but If Only from the whole soundtrack.
Right.
That's the
classic. Emotional version.
The emotional version.
At the end.
Yeah. So those are the nominees.
All right.
Here's the winner. Second Chances from Jonah. It's got to be.
Praise the Lord, he's a God of second chances. It's got a great moral to it, you know.
For sure.
Lifts your spirit. It's a perfect placement in the film. It's like right in the middle where he needs to change his mind, and it gives the I don't know.
Well, it's original because it wasn't in the book. And that's one of the things that the book adaptation really did in the screenplay is writing that song.
Right.
Not to mention Belly of the Whale. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was a huge contender for the soundtrack album. But we had to, if we were giving Hole's soundtrack album, we had to give Jonah Second Chances because it's a banger. Gotta be real. Okay.
Keeping it real?
Keeping it real. Dude. I regret choosing now. Those are just two separate albums that we can't choose a favorite. I'm sorry.
It was tough, but we immediately knew Holes. We knew it.
We knew Holes. It had to be Holes.
But Jonah's great too.
Okay.
All right, what do we got next?
Patreon pick of the year.
Okay.
And so we had our patrons vote. We had our patron vote on their favorite of the year. And they decided to choose What About Bob? Underrated, very funny. Bill Murray. It's very good. You should go see it if you haven't seen it. I say that a lot now. But yeah.
If you haven't seen it, see it. And if you have seen it, see it.
See it again. Yeah. Best movie poster art. Which of these, Jonathan, of these nominees had the best movie poster visually? I guess we'd have to put them on screen. But if not, just go to our Instagram page and look at that because we've got them there.
I'll put them
Nominees are Muppets Treasure Island, The Mummy, Holes, Polar Express, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and What About Bob? Now, a lot of these we chose because it's not necessarily just floating heads. it has something that's interesting to look at, but that also tells you something about the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also like just impressive composition, if you will.
Like a painting or something.
Yes.
Not just
So
photoshopped. Yeah.
we really liked Holes because it was all the campers looking down into a hole, and you are in the hole from the perspective. And I like that. I think that's pretty cool. A lot of contrasting colors and stuff. Didn't win. The winner is, of course, Muppets Treasure Island, because that thing was hand painted.
Yes.
You can't compete with that.
As soon as I had the idea for the category, I was just like, well, it's got to be Muppets Treasure Island.
Well, dang. That was quick. But
so it was just a matter of picking out some other nominations to throw out there as well. That also had some good ideas. We disagree. I like the poster for What About Bob, even though it's simple. Jeremy didn't like it that much.
I don't think I like it. No.
But I like the silhouette of Bob is reaching out to shake Dr. Leo Marvin's hand, and you just see the strangling shadow in the background. It just tells you something about the movie.
I like what it conveys.
Right.
It's just off
without it being a scene from the movie or something like that. So
yes.
All right.
One of my favorite categories is the Best Dynamic Duo Award. And that's coming up right now. And our nominees, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's two characters that feed off of each other and are such a positive, very entertaining duo. Number one, Johnny English and Boff from the movie Johnny English.
Yep. Come off it, Boff.
Kyle and Dunstan from Dunstan Checks In. Caveman and Zero from Holes. Gonzo and Rizzo from Muppets Treasure Island. Wallace and Gromit from Wallace and Gromit. Hogarth and the Iron Giant from The Iron Giant. And Bob and Dr. Leo Marvin from What About Bob? I don't know if that was a dynamic duo. Maybe a dysfunctional duo.
A dynamite duo.
Dynamite duo. Yes. And the winner is, for Best Dynamic Duo. Ooh, this is a second win for them. This is Gonzo and Rizzo from Muppets Treasure Island.
I mean, Gonzo and Rizzo, dynamic duo in whatever movie they are in, whether it's Muppets Christmas Carol. I feel like they've been separated in recent years. They haven't been doing as much together.
Because Pepe
in the 90s
entered the picture.
Yeah.
But they are just so good together. Somehow they're both the straight man and both the funny man character at the same time, and it's just great. I love to see them narrate another movie.
And I know you put forward Caveman and Zero from Holes.
I did.
And they are a great duo, but I just always think of the ensemble of D10 when it comes to them. Yeah. So that was hard.
They're a group. Yeah. All right.
Well, I think we should go on to a category that I really enjoy. Just kidding. You enjoy it too. Best villain.
Enjoy it.
Is that what you had next on your list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a lot of options this year. Almost as many as Funniest Staple.
And
we got a lot of villains. But here we go. Don't get scared now. Happy Chapman from Garfield.
Start out with a bang.
Imhotep from The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. The hobo, Christopher Lloyd's character in Dennis the Menace. We've got Dr. Leo Marvin from What About Bob?
You said that really like him.
Dr. Leo Marvin? No. I feel like I have a pretty good Richard Dreyfuss impression.
You do.
I feel like I could do it, you know?
Yeah.
Doctor Doom from Fantastic Four. We've got the Grinch himself. We've got Bluto from Popeye.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Green Goblin from Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Long John Silver from Muppet Treasure Island. And we've got Lord Rutledge from Dunstan Checks In.
Very good villain. Very good villain. Whole list of great villains, honestly.
And just a side note of Pee Wee Herman's character as like the exterminator guy trying to get rid of the
Pygmaeus.
Yeah, I just wanted to say Pongo Pygmaeus. Okay. Anyway. And the winner goes to the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man.
That's an upset.
You think so?
Yep.
I think he is. Like, he's one of the best villains. I mean,
He is.
bringing him back in No Way Home.
Truly, like, he's such a scary character.
Yeah.
Like, he's somewhat of a scientist himself, though, too.
That is true.
And he's unhinged. He's pure evil. The Green Goblin part, not.
It's such a great performance. We also debated about Long John Silver from Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
And my reasoning for not going with him was because he kind of has a soft side to him. Like, yes, like, you know that he's a pirate, you know that that's the life he chooses, but he also, like, he wants to help Jim, but also, you know, he kind of straddles
he's got
that
love
line.
in his heart.
Yeah.
Still, he's just
Green
mean.
Goblin. He's just evil, man. He's just evil.
Pure evil. And scary. Ugh.
Lord Rutledge was another contender.
Honestly, yeah.
He was scary. Like, just seeing him, like, the way he treated Samson in Dunstan Checks In. I was scared.
Abuser.
Who was a worse animal abuser, him or Happy Chapman with the shock collar?
Easily Lord Rutledge. Oh my goodness. Easily.
Yeah. But yeah, Green Goblin, one of the best superhero villains, I have to say.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I prefer his character over Thanos. I do.
Well, hot take.
Big hot take.
All right. Well, what else do we have for our staple awards, Jeremy?
All right. Well, our next category.
Do you want to take a break? Are we good? We good here?
We've got a lot of categories, but we're near the end. We've got two more.
We're rolling.
I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
We've got our most obscure movie award. That is a movie that most people probably haven't seen when we've asked. It's not a perfect, like, it might be a popular movie, but it just didn't hit every single shelf in every American home.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget the British homes.
And British homes.
Because we got a lot of British listeners on YouTube.
Well, they've clicked off by now, probably. Okay, so most obscure. If you haven't heard of this movie, we're doing it right. Dunstan Checks In, Popeye, The Iron Giant, What About Bob, 9, and I'll Be Home for Christmas. And we like to choose what movie out of all of these is the most obscure, but also would we recommend to you based on your not knowing you super well, but also we want to recommend a great movie that's obscure.
I'd recommend any of these.
I would.
But we got to go with
9's a little scary. Popeye, you need subtitles for, and it's a little much.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't recommend all of them. I'd have to know you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us know you, and then we'll get you a good obscure movie to watch for sure. But the winner for the best overall movie suggested, but also most obscure movie is The Iron Giant. Such a classic.
It's a great movie.
It's a comfort movie.
It's a 5 out of 5, and
very much so.
I think it is a popular movie. So I was kind of hesitant on giving this one most obscure, but the more people we talk to, they're like, "Oh yeah, I never saw that one." So I feel like there's a good number of people that haven't seen this and need to give it a chance, and that's why we went with this one.
The Iron Giant is one that if you've seen it, you love it.
Mhm.
And if you haven't heard of it, you don't even know what you're missing out on. So, like,
Mhm.
I don't know many people that have seen it and not liked it. So, it's
Yeah.
a pretty good review.
Agreed.
All right, Jonathan. Second to last category. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Are we doing best director? Would be next. So, um, we just looked at all the directors, all the movies that we covered this year, and picked a few highlights that had really good, shot composition, cinematography, all that good stuff that I don't really know that much about, but I recognize it when I see it. You know,
It looks
when
like
I'm
they know what
watching
they're
something,
doing.
yeah, you know, you can tell. It's the ones that they stand out above the rest. Here are the nominees. Brad Bird for The Iron Giant, Sam Raimi for Spider-Man. I hesitated to put this one down, but I did anyway. Ron Howard for The Grinch because
Jonathan
I did not like the
controversially does
cinematography
not
in that
like.
movie,
It made him sick.
but I wanted it to be represented. Wes Anderson for Fantastic Mr. Fox and Robert Zemeckis for The Polar Express.
All right.
So what do you guys lock in your answers? What do you think we went with?
The winner.
Crazy enough, you're right. We went with Wes Anderson for Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh man.
I think
Past me would have been upset at that, but it's Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's so good. He took a book adaptation. The reason it didn't win book adaptation is because he created most of the story as original from
Mhm.
him. He just took the idea of Fantastic Mr. Fox because that's just a really short book. He just created something from. He added a bunch of stuff to one little minuscule thing,
Mhm.
enhanced the book through his direction and his eye, and it's so good. It's one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies.
I I think that he storyboards his movies, and I feel like his movies look exactly the way he intends them to look.
Yeah,
And I feel like you can see that with
I
Fantastic
feel like
Mr.
he'd be a
Fox.
nightmare to work for, honestly. But
Yeah, I'm sure he's very perfectionistic,
yeah,
in particular. But
but he produces some good stuff and directs good stuff.
that's right.
All right,
Well, I think it's time.
it's time for the big one, the Stapliest Picture. Now, Jonathan, how this works is that I get one vote. We go through our bracket and choose based on how many listens per episode. And then in a 22 team single elimination bracket, we go through and we choose the best movie we've done this year.
Okay.
And we also let our listeners do that in the staple bracket on Instagram. And they have voted, and we don't know what they've decided for the final movie yet.
Hmm.
So, should we say our answers, or should we go through the bracket, or should we go with them first?
I say we just go through the bracket that the listeners did, like the matchups, each
Okay.
one,
Okay.
and then we can kind of comment on it as we go, like
All right.
if we agree, disagree, that sort of
So
thing.
I've got the whole recorded bracket right here, handwritten by yours truly. But if you follow us on Instagram, stay followed. We've got a couple new followers too, so shout out to them. Um, thanks for listening to the show. Um, okay, so the first matchup, the first round, we did some of the lesser seeded. Like our top 6 movies had a bye week.
Mhm.
So we did Mummy Returns versus What About Bob? And the Mummy Returns won. And I feel like people just did that because they hadn't seen What About Bob?
Yeah, maybe What About Bob should have got most obscure.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean,
Because Mummy
I like,
Returns,
yeah,
it's entertaining, but it's bad.
yeah. It's not as good as the first one.
Yeah. And then we had Popeye versus Nine.
Mhm.
2 movies that most people have not seen, but a lot of people came out of the woodwork for Nine,
Interesting.
surprisingly.
Okay.
It had a good amount of votes over Popeye.
Mhm.
Then we had Wallace and Gromit versus Polar Express, and Wallace and Gromit moved forward. That was a really tough one.
Oh yeah,
I can't really comment on that because I don't know what I would choose.
yeah. I think I
But
would. I would stick with. I would stick with Wallace and Gromit.
I did
but
choose Wallace and Gromit, even though I'm very particular with Polar Express.
you do love that one,
That's okay.
and I have a newfound appreciation for it.
Yes.
Next matchup.
Fantastic Four versus Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids won.
Okay.
The Mummy versus Spider-Man. That was a hard one. That was a really tough one, but most people prefer Spider-Man.
That was one that I saw that and I was like, I don't know what to pick. My brain just kind of melted because I love both of those movies so much. I think if I had to pick, though, I think I probably would have gone Spider-Man.
I would have too. I think
so.
Yeah. I'm just glad that The Mummy got the best adventure movie.
It's just a shame that the second one moved on and the first one
I know
didn't, but
sometimes it's just the way that if you want a movie to do well, listen to the episode, I guess, because that's the way.
It's just the way the bracket crumbles, you know.
Yeah, that's the only non-biased way we could do it. Okay, so Garfield versus I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Okay,
Garfield won that.
Yeah.
Pretty easily, I guess. I don't know. And that was all for round one. Round two, we had our number one most listened movie go against Mummy Returns, and that was Johnny English. And Surpriser, it won. Is Surpriser a word?
It is now.
Who cares? And then next we had Holes versus Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Holes won that. And then we had Inside Out versus 9, and Inside Out won.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah.
And then Wallace and Gromit versus Jonah, a VeggieTales movie. And
that's another
Jonah
one.
Took the lead on that one. And I would have voted for that one anyways. So like Wallace and Gromit versus Polar Express didn't matter to me.
I saw that matchup too. That again, both 5-star movies.
I know.
Oh so man, sad. I think I would have gone with Jonah though on that one too. Yeah. I do think I agree with the listeners.
Yeah. Dunstan Checks In versus Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids won. And honestly, I think both of us would have picked Dunstan Checks In.
I think so too.
Over that. Just nobody had seen it, so it didn't go for it.
Dunstan is so good.
It's so good. Oh my goodness. That would have gotten second place for most obscure.
Also, I feel like you kind of low-key hated on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when we talked about it.
I don't feel like I need to watch that movie ever again, actually. It was not fun.
I think we could have nominated that for action adventure too. Now that I think about it,
yeah, you're right.
A little kind of in a backyard adventure. It wouldn't have won.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Backyard adventure. And then next we had Grinch versus Muppets Treasure Island, and the Grinch won, and that upsets me because Muppets Treasure Island is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. It's expected.
Yeah, it's expected.
Anyone that listened to the Grinch episode knows my thoughts on it. I would have gone Muppets.
And I love the Grinch. I love it. I just can't put it past Muppets Treasure Island. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That was a huge upset for me. Then the listeners chose Spider-Man over Dennis the Menace. And then
I will say, I mean, yeah, Spider-Man, definitely. I do have a soft spot in my heart for our Dennis the Menace episode. I feel like that was a good one. I remember us.
It really was a good one.
I feel like it was just a good heartfelt, talked about our childhood. It was a classic Inside Quotes episode.
Yeah. So good. Go listen to all of our episodes in 2024 if you haven't.
Yeah. The name of our podcast is Inside Quotes, and you can find us on YouTube and on the internet.
And the internet. That's right. And then Garfield versus Iron Giant. That's the last of round 2. And Iron Giant won deservingly. That's
okay. So maybe more people have seen that one than I thought.
I guess so, but also Garfield's pretty obscure too. That's not our most obscure Bill Murray movie though, so I guess
Mhm.
I don't know. All right, so round 3 we had Johnny English versus Holes,
Okay.
and Holes won that one.
Yeah.
Inside Out versus Jonah. Sadly, Inside Out won over Jonah. I would have picked Jonah.
I would have too. But
I love Inside Out.
Inside Out is so popular that I kind of expected that one to win.
I did too. Yeah, and that's okay. And then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Are we on round 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids versus Grinch, and Grinch finally beat Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I would have gone with
Okay.
that as well. And then
That one
Spider-Man.
went pretty high up, I feel like.
Yeah,
Honey, I
it
Shrunk
really
the Kids.
did. More than I expected it to.
Mhm.
But it's a popular one. Spider-Man versus Iron Giant. This was a tough one for me. Spider-Man beat Iron Giant.
Mhm.
Although I'm willing to watch Iron Giant more times than Spider-Man, I think I expected Spider-Man to be
Yeah.
winning that.
It's
I
just
don't know
another
how
one.
I would have gone, but I probably would have gone Iron Giant. But it was tough.
I think I would have stuck with Spider-Man on that one,
I
but
know.
they're both 5 stars.
Yeah, they are. They are. And that brings us to our semifinals. We have Holes versus Inside Out, and Holes won. Obviously. And then Grinch versus Spider-Man. And that one was tough. This was a scary moment. I looked it up this morning, and the polls were like 10 votes versus 10 votes. And it was exactly 50-50. So I texted 3 of our past guests individually. You had one of them, and we had the best of 3 of those 3 tiebreaker guests answers. And we had Caleb Keenan, Jason Mello, and Jonathan Allen Wright. And they all 3 said Spider-Man. So Spider-Man moves forward to compete against Holes, which we don't know yet.
So those are the final
won.
2.
Our final 2 is Holes versus Spider-Man.
Okay.
Now, this is tough. It's a very tough one.
Mm-hmm.
These are both 5-star movies.
I'm very nervous about how this will go.
Yeah. Should we say what we have chosen versus throughout all of ours, and if any of them? So was that your final 2 as well? Would you say?
I think it would. Yeah, that would be my final 2. Would be between those 2. I agree with those.
Mine would have been
results.
Holes versus Iron Giant.
With Iron Giant.
But
I think Spider-Man.
So I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna say my winner for my third of the Stapliest Picture nomination is gonna be Holes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jonathan,
well,
what are you gonna go with?
You can do that if you want. You know, you heard of like people make TikToks on election day, and they're like, "Oh, I'm on the way to the polls to cancel out like my husband's vote or something like that."
Yeah.
Like I'm going to the polls right now to cancel out your vote, and that's why I'm voting. Yeah. Just kidding. I'm going Holes. I'm going Holes.
Oh my goodness,
There's
dude.
no
I thought you were gonna go Spider-Man. You were scaring me, dude.
Holes is our movie.
Holes is our favorite kids movie of all time.
It is.
It's unfair this year, maybe, but
it's a tough matchup.
But we do need to see if
this. We need to know what the listeners say.
If we're all on the same page. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
The winner of the staple bracket is Holes with 57% over Spider-Man's 43%.
Oh, we've got an ad for the Wolfman movie.
Oops. There we go.
Not a sponsor.
Wow, this is our first clean sweep. Congratulations to Holes, the greatest movie of all time, in our opinion. Probably, honestly. This feels really good.
I was so worried. We were talking about beforehand. I was like, well, what if I feel like every year the listeners differ from our pick.
Dude, you almost had to do that with Grinch, though, if the tiebreaker wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was worried about that, too, because I was like, oh, man.
I don't think with you not liking Grinch, there's no way that would have won. So we made it harder in Holes versus Spider-Man. Two movies we love.
That's a good matchup.
That's a
good matchup, though. Yeah. But Holes has been a part of our podcast from the beginning. For those who are just now joining us, we've been quoting it pretty much every episode. It's come up as a topic of conversation. Usually. And if you haven't seen Holes, check it out. Very underrated. Nah, it's rated.
It's rated exactly what it needs to be. As the greatest, most stapliest film of 2024. Mm-hmm. There's a reason we had it as episode 100.
Yeah, I was also worried about like, oh, people are just going to assume we're going to pick that. But so I had to add a little drama there at the end.
Yeah, you genuinely got me, though. That was so stupid of you. Because I know you love Spider-Man so much more than I do.
It's so good.
And I love Spider-Man, but, wow. So let's put that in with what are our past picks?
Oh, yeah.
We've got...
Okay, if I remember correctly, our first year, it was National Treasure.
Yes.
Followed by
treasure, really.
Cheaper by the Dozen, I think. Was
Cheaper by the Dozen?
Year 2?
Yep. That was year 2.
Year 3.
Year 3,
Chamber of Secrets.
Was
Harry Potter.
Secrets. Yeah.
I don't even remember. What did we pick last year?
I don't either.
What was it? You can tell me.
Wasn't it Castaway? No, it was Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Okay.
Oops.
I remember last year being a close one.
I remember Castaway was a big one.
I felt like I had a lot of... I was very unsure what I was going to go into it with that final episode. This time I always knew. I knew what I was voting. But...
This was a good one.
Well, everyone, we've reached the end of the Staple Awards. We want to just say thanks again for listening. Thanks for following us on Instagram. Thanks for voting. Your participation in that helps us get this thing going every year.
Really big turnout this year, too.
Yeah. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tell everyone you know about us, but not how to find us. You know, they gotta find us on their own. But plant the seeds. Tell them about us.
There's a really good movie podcast out there that you should listen to.
Yeah. Everyone loves
What
a
is
treasure
it?
hunt.
Don't worry about it. Thank you guys.
But yeah, Instagram, Inside Quotes Cast, YouTube, Patreon. Go join us on there. $3 a month. If you want us to make it cheaper, let us know. But we're doing bonus episodes where it's basically just me and Jeremy catching up about what we've been watching. So it's a lot of our back burners, the stuff that we haven't gotten to yet. We just recorded one. Yeah, bonus episode that we just recorded was on the movies we're looking forward to in 2025 with coming to theaters. We feel like it's going to be a pretty good year. It's got us contemplating if we're going to get the unlimited pass this year.
So it's expensive, but I love it.
We'll see. It's
going to be good.
And thanks to you, Jeremy, for being my co-host and my brother.
Aww.
From the same mother. And yeah, doing this another year. It's been a great year, and I'm looking forward to 2025.
Until next time, we'll see you next year on Inside Quotes. Or this year.
2026?
We'll see you soon. Yeah, we'll also see you in 2026. We'll be here. We'll be around.
All right. See ya.